Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Julianne and this is my quest to read every single book that I own in print that is like a cover to cover type of book. So not reference books, not cookbooks, not craft books, but fiction, memoirs, non-fiction books on particular topics, you name it. If it fits into that kind of thing, I am aiming to read it from my shelves and get down to zero. So it is now month 31 of my projects. If you're new here, you might want to check out a few of my previous videos, especially the ones where I explain the rules of the project and the rule change updates. But it is the start of a new year, so if you'd rather not and you want to dive in somewhere, why not? Come along with me on the rest of this adventure. So I am partway through my third year of this project, so I'm not going to be starting anything new in this video. We are just going to be updating on where I am at the moment. So one of my main rules is that to read a book that isn't from my TBR, I have to read 2 which are. So I have a reward book system. So if there are 2 books read off my TBR, I get a reward book. And after last month's spectacular results of, even though it was December, managing to get a book off my TBR, 1 single book, but still, it was December, Christmas happened, so I still feel like this is a miracle, which people should really, you know, appreciate and praise me for. Feel free to do that in the comments if you didn't do it in my last video. But anyway, my point is that I finished last month owing myself some reward books. So I decided to extend Christmas, basically. It's Christmas. It's January the 23rd, by the way. I have been too ill to update prior to this. I had a cold for 2 weeks and it wasn't great, but here we are. I'm doing it now. I'm after work, I'm sitting here, I'm making the most of this opportunity to update you. So the first of these reward books that I listened to was the 12 Dates of Christmas by Bayliss. I wanted to listen to this because there is a TV show out at the moment called 12 Dates Before Christmas, which is on ITVX in the UK and I believe was on the Hallmark channel elsewhere. It's I feel like a semi-loose adaptation of the book. It kind of delves more into the main character's dad and what he's doing than the actual book does. But I'm enjoying it nonetheless, and it's interesting to see what changes were made to turn it into a TV show with multiple parts. There are some bits of the book that I do miss, of course, but I'm enjoying it nonetheless. Anyway, the book is about a woman who signs up, or gets signed up by her friend rather, to do 12 dates of Christmas. Basically, it's this whole thing that this company is running where you have to go on 12 kind of themed and interesting dates with different men or women or whatever your preference is, in order to hopefully find love. It's very cute, very heartwarming. I really enjoyed listening to it. Then I listened to Christmas Fling by Lindsey Kelk, which I absolutely adored. Now this one I got as an audiobook from NetGalley, and oh, I can't believe I've not read any Lindsey Kelk before. It was just so much fun. So this is a fake dating story where this woman is about to move into this flat that this guy is letting out, but unexpectedly she gets there and he is there, and after an awkward encounter and the arrival of his parents, she ends up agreeing to, or rather suggesting herself, which is interesting behaviour, to pretend to be his girlfriend so that hopefully his parents will leave him alone and not want to ever invite him for Christmas again because they will hate her so much. So she sets out to be this most awful girlfriend. But they live in this amazing mansion in the Highlands and it's all very lovely and she likes him a lot, and yeah. Her best friends in this are just incredible. A+ supporting characters. I enjoyed them so much, and yeah, I really need to get on the Lindsey Kelk train now and read everything else she's ever written, to be quite honest. Then, continuing my quest to listen to audiobooks of books which are in my TBR, where I can get them at the library, I listened to Traitor to the Throne by Alwyn. This huge proof was not even given to me. Somebody else gave it to me because I enjoyed the first one. It's not one that the publisher sent to me directly, it's just one I got from a friend. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was really fun listening to Rebel in the Sands before this, actually. I really enjoyed that book, and it's just like an absolutely cracking start to a trilogy. And I listened to that in order to prepare for this, and it was just so much fun. I was like, I need to find more fantasy books I can listen to in audiobook, because a lot of them I can't. I find that there's too many places and names and I get confused, and so I need to read them, or at least read the first one in a trilogy, and then I can listen to the second, third. But yeah, I really enjoyed that so much, would recommend it. And so it was really great to finally get to read Traitor to the Throne. So yeah, another one off the list. I then immediately borrowed Hero at the Fore, which is the third in the trilogy, but I have not listened to very much of that one yet. So yeah, hopefully later this month I will finish that one as well. Then I listened to The Christmas Project by Maxine Morrey. This is another Christmas rom-com, which is about a woman who is a professional organiser whose friend basically convinces her to help her brother organise his house. And over the course of organising his house, they start to develop feelings, of course. It was very fun. I really liked that it was about a personal organiser as well, because I had started doing the Organise 100 challenge, which, if you don't know, this is a woman called Jen on Instagram who is a personal organiser, and every now and then she runs this like month-long challenge to try and clear out 100 items from your home, and she posts like daily prompts. And I was just getting started with that, doing a bit of a catch up while I listened, and yeah, it was really fun to sort of combine those two things together. Then I listened to Insignificant Events in the Life of a Cactus, which is about a girl born without arms who moves from her kind of comfortable school community that she's been used to her whole life to live in a theme park in a different part of America, because her parents get a job there, and kind of what transpires there, how she adjusts to life at a new school. She makes a couple of new best friends who have their own challenges. It's just really nice, sweet middle grade. I really enjoyed it, and I have already added to my list the second book to borrow from the library and listen to as well. Yeah, it's just a really nice read about friendship and family, and knowing who you are and sticking up for yourself. Just very cute. Then I listened to The Other Typist, which is a sort of like, I guess like a sort of psychological thriller type book. It's about a woman in Prohibition, New York City, who works as a stenographer in a police precinct. And basically this new typist starts working there as well, and she becomes kind of obsessed with her in a way that's slightly creepy, but then they become friends, they move in together, and it turns out that there's some criminal enterprising going on. It's the kind of book where you'll be trying to work out what's going on and what's going to happen throughout, and the narrator is like peak unreliable. She very much thinks that she is morally superior to everybody else, and only has sympathy for people who she thinks are kind of on her same wavelength, and is quite condescending and has a tendency to look down on other people. And that's just such an interesting protagonist to be in the head of for a little while. Then I read/listened to The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry, which is a book that became a massive hit in the UK way back when was it big? 2012, yeah. So I had this on my TBR for a while. I didn't really know much about it other than that it's about a man who does a long walk. So basically it's about this man who, he's in his 60s, he's retired, and one day he gets a letter from an old friend and colleague to say that she has cancer, that she's dying, and that she, you know, kind of wanted to wish him well and all of that. And he is really struck with this, and he's like, I'm going to write back to her. And he sets out to go to the post box to post this letter, and he gets to the post box and he thinks, oh well, you know, I'm quite enjoying the walk, I might go to the next post box. And he keeps going, and he goes to a petrol station to get some refreshments. He talks to this girl at the petrol station who tells him a story which inspires him to walk to his friend. And now he lives in Cornwall and she lives in Berwick-upon-Tweed, which is like the top of England, so it's like an extremely long journey to walk, and he just basically sets out to do this. His wife doesn't really understand what he's doing or why, and there's just all this like complicated psychological thing that's going on. He's also been trying to avoid this thing which happened many years ago, which eventually comes out at the end. He meets and picks up various people along the way, and yeah, it's a really, really interesting way of telling a story, I thought, through this journey and flashbacks. You also get point of view bits from his wife and other characters, which I thought was interesting as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Then I read, in actual print this time, The Christmas Bookshop, which is a book that I actually acquired during the month when we went to spend Christmas with my future mother-in-law. She gave me this book because she enjoyed it. The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. I had read books by Jenny Colgan before, I think maybe just one or two. I definitely read, what is it called? Looking for Addison, I think, which is an old one of hers, which I read, I think, gosh, when I was in sixth form maybe, or maybe when I was in university, I can't remember. I feel like a girl at school recommended it to me, but I can't remember exactly. I don't know if I picked it up like soon or whether I picked it up later, because the version that I've got is like an ex-library copy of it, so I might have picked it up a couple of years later and just kind of vaguely remembered someone recommending it to me and read it then. But anyway, I remember really enjoying that at the time, but I'm not I don't think I've picked up another Jenny Colgan since, and oh my god, I loved this so much. It almost made me want to move to Edinburgh, and I mean, I already thought Edinburgh was a beautiful, beautiful city, and the main reason I haven't moved there is because it's too cold. I love London, and we have better weather than Edinburgh, I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, this was just so charming. It's about this woman called Carmen who works in a department store in a more sort of less populous part of Scotland, and she loses her job. Basically she gets made redundant. I think the whole place is getting closed down, or they're doing like severe cutbacks, I can't remember. Anyway, her sister basically asked her to come stay because she's got like a job for her, potential job for her that she needs help with. She goes, and it's basically to turn around the fortunes of this like antique obscure bookshop which is doing really badly but is in a really great position, and basically her task is to try and make a go of it, to get some customers in so it can be sold as a profitable going concern, which is obviously a challenge for any bookshop. And it's just so nice. I love the romance which happens later on in this book. I loved the owner of the bookshop, what is it called? Old Mr. Macready. Young Mr. Macready rather. Old Mr. Macready was his father and everybody calls him Young Mr. Macready even though he is old. He doesn't really want to retire. He just wants to be kind of left alone with his books, and the concept of selling them is something he's not 100% comfortable with. But yeah, the characters are so charming. The sister and her children, delightful. There's like a really kind of hateable antagonist as well. Delightful, delightful book. I have already requested the sequel, which I think is called Midnight at the Christmas Bookshop, from the library because I just want more of this world. Then I read The Witch's Egg, which is a book I got for Christmas from my partner. I requested this because at Thought Bubble, which is a comics fair in the UK, it's like a 2-day thing in Harrogate in Yorkshire. They had on at the same time in a local museum a exhibition about the comics graphic novel publisher Avery Hill, and I went and I saw some of the like original art from this book and I just fell in love with it. I was like, I need to have this book, like I need to have this book. And it's been like widely critically acclaimed. It is just gorgeous. Like the art is just like, oh, it's just incredible. It's so colourful and weird and wonderful. It's a really, really strange story about a cat witch who wants to have children and gets herself an egg, and just like this apocalyptic stuff that happens because of the consequences of this. Like there was some prophecy that this other like creature couldn't have children, but if she did, then this worm king would be born and devour the world. And it's super strange. It's super strange, but it's just beautiful and surprisingly, despite the strangeness, like emotionally absorbing. And as I say, the art is just incredible. This is definitely one that I'm going to be rereading often because disappearing into the world of this art, like I'm literally flicking through it now and wanting to reread it. It's just stunning. And then, bringing us right up to date with the books that I've read this month, I read / listened to Railhead by Philip Reed. This is so incredible. Oh my god, I'd never read a Philip Reed book before. He's best known for Mortal Engines, which I think they made the first one of into a film. And this is the start of another trilogy by him. I feel like all you need to know about this is space trains. It's basically set in a world, in a universe maybe, rather, I don't know what's the most appropriate term to use, where people can travel between planets by going on these like intergalactic space trains that jump through these things called K-gates, and it's amazing. And there's just like so many references to like train things in there, like real life train things, and yeah, it's just brilliant. I loved it so much. I was just like, wow, the imagination. Like if I could have half of the imagination of this, I reckon I could write a good fantasy book / sci-fi book. But this is like extreme levels of incredibly original, intricate, detailed, fabulous world building that's also light touch at the same time. Like you're never overwhelmed with information, but it all just makes sense. So good. I've already borrowed the second one in this series from the library so I can keep reading and find out what happens to the main characters next, because just wow. So at the moment, on my currently reading pile, I have Happy City, which I have forgotten to pick up and wave at you, but if you watch my videos, you've seen that book 100 times before. It's a book about how to make cities which make us happier and how to improve our cities so they make us happier. It's incredible, but I'm going through it very slowly so I can really savour it and enjoy absorbing all the information. I'm also reading In the Event of Love, which is a Christmas romance about a woman who, after a dramatic incident involving her work life, goes back to her hometown and is roped into working with her kind of former best friend who some sort of like romantic intrigue happened with. Not quite sure on the details yet, we haven't got that far, but yeah, it's early days, but I am enjoying it. And I'm also getting my way through Wandering Souls by Cecile Pin, which is a book about three children who are refugees from Vietnam in the 1970s after the Vietnam War, and they have been hoping to go to America where they're supposed to be meeting up with their parents, but something really tragic happens and instead they find their way to the UK. And they have not been in the UK very long at the point that I'm at, but I am enjoying this book so much. It's a really easy read, even though it is quite like some quite awful, harrowing stuff happens to the characters. But it's just so easy to read. Like the language is just very, so the language just really like pulls you in, and every time I've picked it up I've not wanted to put it down, and I only started it yesterday and I'm here. So there we go. Anyway, so that's where we are at the moment. I've read 10 books. I've got 4 books on my TBR, including Hero at the Fall, which is the audiobook I've got on at the moment, and In the Event of Love, and Wandering Souls. Oh wait, I have another audiobook. I also have the Whalebone Theatre, but I'll tell you more about that next update because this one has got incredibly long. Really enjoying that book so much. It's another one that I have a print copy of on my TBR, but I feel like I'm still so early in with it that I can't tell you like what it's about. All I can do really is recount the events that have happened so far, which is not really telling you what the book's about. So yeah, I'll wait to tell you about that one until I have read a bit more of it. Yeah, so there we go. That's where I'm at right now. It's the 23rd of January. Let's see how many more books I can finish this month. I would really love to read like 17 or more books this month, but I don't know that that's going to happen. I don't have very many plans this weekend, so I'm hoping at least that I can finish In the Event of Love, Wandering Souls, and maybe one of the other Christmas books I've got out of the library, but we'll see. We shall see. I also need to make a good amount of progress with the Whalebone Theatre if I am to finish it before it's due back at the library. But it is a long book. It's like 18 hours long. So there we go. All right. I will update you again soon. Hello. Welcome to the second part of this vlog. Oh my god. It has really not been that much of a vlog. I apologise. Because this is the end, this is the last bit. It is not January anymore, it is now February, and so I'm just basically going to recap the rest of the books I read. So maybe this is more of a 2-part recap than a full-on vlog. What can I say? It's been a dark month in which I have had a cold, as I mentioned in my previous update, and yeah, I've read a lot, but that's about the majority of what I have managed. So let's go on with it, shall we? So I finished Wandering Souls in time for my book club meeting. It was a really great discussion. It was such an interesting book to talk about, especially as most of us didn't know very much about this period of history before, if at all. And it was really interesting, like some people spoke to their parents about it and they were like, oh yeah, I remember the Vietnamese refugees. And so yeah, we talked about how a lot of us had like looked up information on the history. There's like at one point a letter that Margaret Thatcher wrote, which somebody said that they looked up and it was real. It was like like quoted entirely in the book. So yeah, it was really interesting to find out just how grounded in reality this story was. So yeah, I actually chose this for book club, or I suggested it and then everybody voted to read it. So I feel very validated about how good a discussion we got out of it. Then I finished reading The Whalebone Theatre. Now this is a mammoth of a book. Actually, it is 546 pages long, excluding the acknowledgements. Or 548 if you include the acknowledgements. It is a bit of a family epic. It starts off when the main characters are children and kind of follows them into their young adulthood and the outbreak of the Second World War and all of the roles that they decide to take in that, or that are thrust upon them by what is going on. It was such a good book. I honestly loved this. I just didn't want to put it down. I was extremely sad when it ended. They are basically kind of semi-aristocratic children, I guess. They live in this grand house. The fortunes of their family have seen better days by the end of this book, for sure. But when they're children, they're relatively wealthy. As teenagers, they start a theatre on the grounds, like a proper theatre, and put on shows and have people come and watch. And then that is all disrupted when the war happens. It's just, oh, it was so poignant, so beautiful, so much fun, despite the devastating events of the book. I highly recommend this one. So good. Then I finished listening to Hero at the Fall, which is the third in the trilogy that began with Rebel in the Sands. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was great into the trilogy. Can't really talk very much about it because it's the final book in a trilogy, but I did enjoy it and I would recommend that series, particularly to young adults. I think it has that very sort of like action-packed romantic drama sort of young adult style, which I think is really fun if that's your type of thing. And then finally I finished In the Event of Love, which was a very cute, easy read. So that's all the books that I read in January, month 31. Now it's time for the tally. So I read one book that I listened to via Spotify, one book that I listened to via NetGalley, one book that I borrowed from the library as a print book, that one. I read 2 audiobooks that I borrowed from the library, and from my TBR I read a whopping 9 books thanks to all of those audiobook listens. So yeah, feeling very victorious. I also DNF'd 4 books. One I actually found that I had 2 copies of, so I just got rid of one of the copies. I'm counting that because, you know, it was taking up space. There were 2 books which I had for a while and kept thinking I'd get around to, but then I thought about it, remembered that I'd read another book from the author that I hadn't really enjoyed, and I decided to get rid of those. And wonderful. And there was one more book that I started and I just didn't go on with at all, so I decided not to finish it. Unfortunately, I then made up for all those DNFs and one of my TBR books by acquiring 5 books. I got quite lucky. Some really fun looking books appeared on the local free book kind of street library things and on the book swap shelf at work. Of course, I also got an Loot Crate book this month, but you know, I'm happy with it. It's fine. It's fine. I feel like I may have made up for that with all of the books that I read and DNF'd. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching this update. Again, I'm sorry that it wasn't really a proper vlog. Some months just just turn out this way. What can I say? Please let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them, if you have any recommendations for me. I do occasionally like to put in the odd library hold. I say that, I have put so many in lately. So, you know, I might actually get to read your suggestions sometime soon. And of course, if you are doing a TBR Zero or similar project with your reading, please let me know about it in the comments. If you are documenting it somewhere online that I can follow, let me know, because I would love to see your updates. Thank you so much for watching. You'll see me again soon. Bye!